This is Bioshock 2 Remastered. We're on the Nintendo Switch, and this is available as part of the Bioshock collection or as a standalone release. So this is the second entry in the series, and honestly one that often gets neglected, and I think for no good reason, because it's actually quite an interesting and distinct experience. So with this remastered version, I'd say out of the overall package, this one probably got the least amount of care. It's definitely the roughest. It does load all right, but in comparison to the other ones, not quite as well. And I have also noticed that some of the visual aspects are a little bit more pixelated and fuzzier, despite having some better texture work in some of the areas. I'll also note that while it's great to have this one back, it is disappointing that the multiplayer component of the game has been removed. I really did like that. I found that to be really interesting and fun and different as a multiplayer experience, but that has not been carried forward here, which really, I suppose, was kind of to be expected, considering, you know, it wasn't available in any of the other collection versions of this game. Whoa, don't want that to blow up. You can see even with the fire and stuff, they're very pixelated. I guess the first Bioshock kind of had that with fire too, but it's just an example of some of the rougher edges on this one. A little bit of the, you know, the lesser polishing that was present in this game. And that in itself is a little disappointing, because I still think this one is kind of cool and sort of worthwhile, because it is something so uniquely different within the Bioshock series. So in this one, you're playing as Delta. You're basically a precursor to the Big Daddy. You awaken after like a decade or so of, you know, kind of being out of the action. I won't dive into that because I don't want to spoil it, but, you know, time has passed and now you're coming back into the fold. You're kind of trying to rediscover what's going on, what's happening, and dealing with the problems around there. So things have also changed. You're seeing the deterioration of the city, the further deterioration of it. This is taking place after the first game. So you're seeing how the Society of Rapture continues to splinter and deteriorate, and you're kind of just left in the aftermath of it, trying to figure out what happened, you know, trying to understand the mystery here. And this really is a more, I guess you could say, action-packed take on Bioshock. It feels very similar to the first game, but it definitely does, you know, kind of get right into it right away. And you're dealing with these big sisters. They're kind of, you know, scarier, little deadlier, mobile versions of you. And that in itself, I guess, is a little bit scary too. So you are trying to survive, move around, deal with the various enemies that are present. I don't think we got anything for telekinesis. And you're basically trying to just survive, explore, and push forward. This is mostly a linear title. There's not a whole lot of a sense of freedom in this one, and I think it is still rather interesting and different. I mean, I don't think it's quite necessarily as good as the other Bioshock titles, but I also think it is something that does, you know, kind of round out the experience in a little bit of a interesting and cool way. Yeah, I know I need to find a first aid pack, but I seem to be starved for them in this place or something. Seriously, I'm having absolutely no luck with this one today for some reason. It was so smooth at the start. Now I'm having all these problems, but it is fun to come back and jump in here and take a look at this game, take a look at the overall package and see all of these different titles, you know, still today holding up. And while I am noting that this one is a little bit rougher polish wise, I do again still think maybe you should give it a try, see what it's like, because it does add a little bit of a neat extra to the universe, something that is fun to play. And why am I having such difficulty with this? There are different difficulty options present. there's some smoothness and stuff as you're trying to look around. I don't know why specifically that I'm having issues with this one today, because it's just like they're absolutely annihilating me. But it's a good return to Rapture. I get why some people might not necessarily care for this one. I understand that. And I think some of the heart gets removed by removing the multiplayer, because I think that's kind of what added a lot to what this game was. As far as its identity was the multiplayer aspect. I still think the DLC areas may be kind of cool. The campaign itself just gives you a little bit more closure, is that fair to say, as to the universe of Rapture, the world here. While it doesn't quite lead into the same strengths as, you know, Infinite or the first Bioshock, it is something that is, you know, different. You know, you're getting something that is fun to play as. You get to be kind of a big daddy right from the get-go. Even though these guys are absolutely slaughtering me and I'm not feeling the power of the big daddy, you still get to be one. And you still get to get a new perspective, right? Somebody that's waking up, coming back in here after time has run out. Like, am I playing, like, the starved for ammo version of this? I just think it's kind of funny that, like, you know, I'm so, like, completely out of ammo and resources for some reason, even though I was just smoothly sailing through this one prior to jumping into capturing some content on this. But it has been a fun revisit. I think, you know, that playing on the Switch, it's relatively a good time. Obviously not to the same level as the other ones are, and I think this one maybe got neglected a bit more, you know, in comparison to those other ones. Really? Am I just gonna get shut up in there? There we go. Join me, my friendly robot pal. I think we're trying to run away from this place. You do also get your guidance as per usual, and the general aesthetics of Bioshock are carried forward. You might get to visit an interesting place or two that you may be a little bit familiar with. And I don't think it necessarily evolves too much on what the original release was. I still think it's good that they did a little bit of an effort in regards to remastering it, carrying it forward so that this isn't a lost entry in the series. And who knows, maybe at some point this will be something that is more important to what the overall Bioshock franchise is. You do get to see some pretty cool moments though in this one, because you are at this different perspective. You know, some little more underwater sections like that. Where are you running off to? Oh, more traps. Lovely. But you're seeing here, like, this is a lot more kind of just rough visual wise in regards to what we're dealing with here. Oh, rivet traps on the floor. That's kind of fun. But we don't have any of that weapon right now. So we might as well actually just run into these and get some more health going on. Nope, okay. So you can change the ammo type here. Oh, we got our little friendly drone. He actually followed with us. I was surprised. I thought he was going to kind of be left behind to a degree, if you were knowing what I'm thinking. But yeah, I still think they do some cool things with the backdrop too. You know, the world around here. Yeah, I know about the first aid kit. Come on. I thought I turned off tooltips. You know, just the greater world of Rapture is always fascinating to me. Visiting these, like, underwater places that continue to be swamped up and kind of desolate. What am I thinking? Rivet gun? Trap rivet. That's funny. So you also get some fun toys to play with as well. It does different things from the first game. That's mostly what I'm trying to get across. And you get to keep visiting these weird places, and while you think you might be tougher, you not really necessarily are tougher, because you're still this kind of weaker, earlier version. And I guess lore-wise it does kind of play around with that a little bit to a fun degree. Well, hello there.
something. And I have returned to rescue them. If I do not, more children will die for my sins. And the Rapture nightmare it will repeat forever. Now, we must talk.
Citizens of Rapture, this is Subject Delta.
Lamb will take this place apart to find you. Please hold back the splicers until we escape.